Hello, my name is Grzegorz Pytel, and today I would like to invite you to Storware Academy, where I will show you the main features of our software, Storware Backup and Recovery. Today we'll be covering protection of virtual environments, storages, Microsoft 365, agents for file-level backup, and backup of application. So, like I said, today we will start with protection of our virtual environments. But before we start, let's quickly jump to the backup destination, because we cannot do any backups without preparing the storage spaces where we are going to save our data. Here today I will be using file system based backup destination, but these are not the only option which you can use in Storware Backup and Recovery. We also support object storages, tape pools, and integration with third-party vendors that is called enterprise backup providers. As you can see on my screen, today I have already configured 4 different backup destinations. The first one is a file system synthetic. This is the new file system that Storware is preparing on a clean block device. It's also using a video for software-based duplication. And the second one is a file system that is a local path on our node and is dedicated for cloud. The third one is also a local file system dedicated for the backups of my storages. And then we have a network share. This is a share from Windows Server that is mounted locally in our node. So let's go to the virtual environments. As you can see, I'm in an instances list, and some virtual machines are already present right here. But when you are starting configuration, we will start with virtualization providers, and here you can add your hypervisor managers or single host, so single hypervisors. You can do this simply by clicking the create button. Then you just need to choose the service provider type that you would like to use. Let's say I would like to add new VMware SXI host. So in this case, I just need to provide the host address, the username, and the password, and hit the save button. After I do this, I will be automatically asked to make an inventory synchronization. During the inventory synchronization, we are gathering information about the whole configuration on the hypervisor side, so about the VMs, about the storages, networks, and so on. In my environment, I already have 3 different hypervisors added. So the first one is a VMware SXI host, then I have an OpenNebula and Red Hat virtualization. After the synchronization is done, we can go to the instances list to check if all virtual machines from our environment are present right here. We can use some filters. For example, I would like to see only VMs from the OpenNebula. Then I can apply a filter, and now I see only 3 VMs on my list. Then we can configure the policies. So we need to go to the backup SLAs. This is the set of a policy together with schedules. I have 2 different policies already configured. The first one is dedicated for virtual environments lying on OpenNebula. So let's see what's inside. We just need to give a name to the policy to choose if it would be scheduled or non-scheduled policy. But from the interesting features, we have a auto assignment mechanism. So in this case, we can use tags or regular expressions depending on what is supported by our hypervisor. So if it's support tagging, then we can assign proper tags for our VMs. If it's not, we can use, let's say, a naming convention and prepare regular expressions, and if the machines will meet these conditions, after each synchronization they would be automatically assigned to this policy. We don't need to use it. We can simply just choose our VMs manually. So in the virtual environments list, we are choosing those VMs by checking the checkbox next to the VM name. If it's done, we can go to the last step of our configuration. So this is the rule. The rule describes where we are going to store the data from our backups. So the primary backup destination, It also has a retention settings, so the retention can be based on the number of days or number of versions. Also, if the primary backup destination is a synthetic file system, then we can toggle on this switch right here that is called Enable backup, Secondary Backup Destination, and we can choose another storage where we are going to save the backups from our VMs. So in one task, your backups will be automatically stored in two different backup destinations. After it's done, the last thing that we need to do is to prepare the schedules. So create the schedule. Here we just need to give it a name, then choose if it would be a full backup or incremental. Eventually, if it can run a backup synchronization between primary and secondary backup destination. Then the schedule can be time-based. In this case, we are simply just choosing the time of the day, then the days of a month or the days of a week, and we can start our backups. The second option is to choose interval-based backup schedule. So between the given hours with a configured frequency, we will be running backups. Of course, then once again we are choosing the days when we would like to execute this schedule. After it's done, we can save the policy and of course wait for the schedule to start the backups, but we can also start it manually. So from this view, if I hit the backup button next to the policy name, it would start the backup for all the VMs that are inside, or I can just find a single machine or more than one machine on my instances list and start the backup for one or more machines that I will choose. So let's start the backup right now. Here we have some options of adjustments our backup. So let's start it. And after this, here we have a work execution console. And in a minute, we will see that new task that will appear right here. We can scroll it down to see the details, to see the subtasks that are inside this, this backup task, and watch the progress of our backup. As you can see, my backup is already done, so I can toggle this off, and now I can browse the details of my virtual machine that I just backed up. So I will click on the name. Here I see a lot of useful information. So the name of my VM, the information about the environment, about the host where it lays, also information about the backup policy that is assigned to this virtual machine. But what is most important for me is the backup list. So here I will see all the backups that are available for this virtual machine. From this list I can also adjust the retention, so I can make mark a backup as to keep or as expired. If I choose mark as to keep, I can choose the date for how long we would like to store this backup. If I mark it as expired, it will be removed during the next backup task for this machine. I can also see the backup history. Here I will see all the tasks that were executed for this particular machine, no matter if they were successful or unsuccessful. Also the restore history, the snapshots and snapshot history. I can also go to the disk tab, and here if my machine has more than one disk, I can exclude one of them or more of them from the backup in Storware Backup and Recovery. I can also see some other some other information like schedules assigned to this machine. And now if I done some backups, I probably would like to do some restoration. So here we have a restore button. If I click it, I can choose between restoring to the hypervisor manager or simply restoring the raw data directly to Storware node. Today I would like to restore to the hypervisor manager. So I'm choosing this option. From this wizard I can still do some adjustments, like choosing the point in time from which I would like to make a recovery. Then I can also restore it to the different hypervisor, but it needs to be hypervisor of a same type, so there is no cross-platform restoration. I can also change the name of a virtual machine. Then, depending on the platform, I can still make some changes to the storages, to the networking, and so on. If these settings are ready, then I can simply go to the summary and restore this virtual machine. But let's say I will change just the name, so I will add the phrase restore, then go back to the summary and restore our virtual machine. So once again, we can go to the work execution console. The new task will appear right here, and we can still see the progress of this task. Now my restore task is done, so I can switch to my Open Nebula and check if my machine is already there. So let's go right here. This is my Open Nebula web UI, and here I can see my restored virtual machine. Some other worth mentioning features for the virtual machines is an option to make a mount of a file system of a virtual machine from our backup. So here we have a button that is called simply mount. If I choose it, I can make a mount of a whole file system of a virtual machine, or I can choose a specify file system to be mounted. The third option is making an iSCSI share and exposing the VM drive to the different machine. So this is an option how you can achieve granular recovery of a, let's say, a single path or even a single file from our backup solution. This file can be mounted and downloaded through the web UI of Storware Backup and Recovery, or even remotely uploaded to the source or a different machine, which requires providing the host address and credentials of a user that has a permission to write the data to a selected localization. Some other worth mentioning features is snapshot management. So let's jump to the snapshot SLAs, because Storware gives you also an option to manage snapshots on a hypervisor side. To make it happen, we just need to prepare a snapshot SLA. So this configuration is quite similar to the configuration of a backup SLA. The main difference is then when we will go to the rule, there is no choosing of backup destination, because this is only, like I said, snapshot management. So we are doing the snapshot on a hypervisor side. We can create them, revert them. Everything can be done from the Storware web UI, but there is no data transfer like in a classical snapshot. Another interesting feature, I think, is recovery plans. So this is our response for preparing the disaster recovery scenarios. So let's create a new plan. Let's call it DR. Now we can save it. Inside the plan, we need to create a rule. We can also name it a DR. It should be active. In the rule, we are choosing the virtual environments that we would like to assign to this recovery plan. So I will choose just one, but then it can be more than one. Let's say you are preparing the set of your most important VMs in the whole infrastructure. Then we can go next. I will skip the schedules for a moment. Then we have some additional restore parameters, like choosing the hypervisor manager. We can still do some adjustments to storages, networking, to the naming of restored VMs. And we can save this recovery plan. And in a case of a disaster that can happen in our environment, just one click, we can start recovering, like I said, the most important VMs. I skip the schedules. Let's get back to them for a moment, because for the recovery plans, you can also prepare the schedules and let's say do them run them periodically on a weekly, monthly, or other period basis. Let's say you have two sites, the production and testing sites. From time to time, you can recover your machines to the testing site, turn them on, check if the data inside are consistent, if all the services will be bringed up, to be sure that your backups are recoverable, and be ready for eventual disaster that can always happen in a environment. So let's just go next, save whole plan, and like I said, now by clicking a single button that is called execute recovery plan, we can start recreating of our environment. The next step that we need to cover today is a backup, some protection of our storages. So let's go to the storages tab. Here I have my Windows share, but let's take a look how configuration looks like. So at first I need to prepare the storage provider. This one is called Windows in my case. It is using the default configuration of my node. Then we are creating the new instance, or we can see the details of the instance that is already created right here. So the Windows share. What we have right here, if we edit this, this is the name and the path, that is a local path on my node where the share from the Windows server is mounted. In this case, it is an MNT Win share. If this configuration is ready, then once again, like in a virtual environment, we need to go to the backup SLAs, and this is the set of policies and schedules. But this one is dedicated for the storage providers. So configuration is quite similar. We need to give it a name. We can choose to enable an auto assignment, then the storage provider instead of a virtual environment, and of course the rule. So in the rule, once again, we are choosing the backup destination. We are setting the retention for the storages, assigning or creating the new schedules, and we can save the rule and do the backup of our storage. So let's do this right now. Once again, we can do some adjustments and start the backup process. And if we go to the work execution console, we will see the new task for the backup of storage provider. We can see the details, and our storage now is backing up. All right, so our backup is done. So let's go to the Windows machine that is sharing this storage to our node, and we can delete the data inside the network share that was just backup. So I'm deleting my files, getting back to Storware. I will just find my instance, and now I will try to recover it directly to my network share. So restore. I just need to provide the path where I want to make a restoration. So we're sending it back to the MNT /win share, and now the new task for the restoration will appear. As you can see, it's quite fast process. So okay, my task is done, and if we get back to the Windows server, you can see that my files are right here after the restoration process. The next feature that we would like to cover today, it is a backup of Microsoft 365 environment. So let's go to the tab dedicated for this service cloud provider. What we see right here is a list of our Microsoft 365 users, but let's take a brief look at the configuration process. We are starting with adding new organization. We can do this manually, but I think it's quite time and work consuming, because you need to create new application inside your Azure environment. Then you need to grant about 30 permission to this application. What you can do to make it in a more convenient way is usage of our setup assistant. This is a simple wizard that guides you through the six steps. So we are starting with device login, Then we need to make a login with our administrator credentials and grant permissions for our application. But don't worry, we don't store it inside our database. This is an interactive online login. So in a case of compromising our server, this data cannot be stolen from our database because they are simply just not there. If this process is done with a success, then once again we will start the inventory synchronization. We'll gather information about your user groups, SharePoint sites, and teams, and everything will appear like I said here at the instance list. So we can search through the users, like I said, through the user groups. We can see the SharePoint sites and the teams channels. Of course, we need to prepare the backup SLAs to start our backups. So inside a policy we can still use auto assignment, but it works in a slightly different way, because if we enable this and choose our organization, all new users that will appear in our Microsoft 365 tenant will be automatically assigned to this policy. Then we are choosing the features that we would like to do the backup. So we can backup online Exchange Online mailboxes, archive mailboxes, calendars, contacts, OneDrive for business, and Teams chats for the users one-on-one. Then we can use user groups to make different policies for the different groups of users. Then the SharePoint sites, and of course the Teams channel. So this is the Teams channel conversation, Teams file, and so on. Of course, you can still make some other configuration, like choosing the single user, single group, single sites, and teams. But I think this is not the way you probably will be doing the backup. Then at the end, you are preparing the rule. In rule, you are choosing the backup destination. It must be marked as a backup destination for cloud, and setting up the retention. At the end, creating the schedule dedicated for Microsoft 365. And worth mentioning, worth to notice that it is always incremental backup, because for this service only the first one is a full. Then we are backing up only the changes that were made to our service provider. So if it's done, we can once again start the backup by the policy for all the users and features chosen inside the policy. But we can also find our user by the name and start the backup just for this one user. I will do this right now, and new task will appear in a task execution console. If we would like to see what we have backed up for the single user, we just need to find him. Let's say I want to see my user number 1. I'm going to the details where I will see the backup and restore history as well. Then I can go to the protected data. So here I can browse the mailbox, the archive, calendars, contacts, OneDrive, and chats. If I go to the inbox, I will see the emails. So I can choose the one or a bunch of emails. I can download it through the web UI. So let's say the first 3. I will hit the download, and in a minute the download will be available right here in a download tab. But it is not the only option, because if the mail was deleted from the user mailbox, I can still restore it back to the original account, or I can make a cross-account restoration by using the restore to another account option. So I can choose a different user, even from a different tenant. So let's say in a case employee is leaving a company, you would like to pass his work to the different person. This is quite, I think, a convenient way of doing this action. But you can also use our export to PST feature. So in this case, you are choosing the emails or whole mailbox, and you can export it to the PST file that can be mounted to the Outlook application. So let's take a look at progress of my mounting task. So right now in the download tab we will see that these three emails were exported and are ready to download. And if I hit the download button, I will be able to download a zip archive with this only these three emails that I choose from the web UI. So the download is ready. Now I can open the containing path and open the archive, and inside the archive I see all the emails that I just recovered. The next feature that we have to cover today is a file level backup of an agent. So let's go to the Agents tab. Agents, like its name, it's backup done through the agents that are installed on a target operating system. We have a ready-to-use packages for the Windows and for the Linux operating system. So you can download the agent from our repository, then install it on a target system. Then you just need to connect it to our server, which is done in Windows automatically. In Linux, you just need to trigger one command, and all the agents will appear here at the instances list, and the status should be connected. Alright, so let's quickly switch to my Windows machine. It is a Windows 10, and this is the containing of a C drive. Here we have a path that is called Academy. Inside we have one subfolder with a couple files, and to start the backups we just need to configure backup SLA. So we have one policy already configured. It is called Agent SLA. Inside it we're still trying to make it as similar to the other features as it was possible. So we have a auto assignment, so new agents that will be registered to our server can be auto assigned to this policy if we turn it on. Then we can choose agents manually one by one, and we have to configure the rule. In a rule, like previously, we are choosing the backup destination, the retention, but also the paths that should be protected with our agent in this policy. So in my case it is C Academy, and the file pattern it's just supposed to assign all files in this protected paths. So the schedules are here. The agent schedule, it looks quite the same as in the case of a Microsoft 365. Only first backup is full, then we are making the incrementals, and we are ready to start doing the backups. We can save the policy and make a backup. So let's start it right now. And here, new task, like previously, will appear in a task console. We will wait a few minutes to complete this task, so we can see the process of progress. Okay, now my backup is done, so I can go to the instances and see what I have backup for this agent. I'm clicking on the name. I can also see some information about the backup, restore history, but what is more important for us is a protected data type, the same like in a Microsoft 365 environment. So here I can browse the containing of the folders that I'm protecting with Storware Backup and Recovery, and right now I can do the restoration. I can of course do the restore to the original location. I can even do the cross-agent restore, so from one machine to another I can restore my files, but now I will just try to do the mount and download the file for the web UI. I'm choosing the single file, hitting the download button. I just need to confirm. I can switch to the download, and in a minute I will see my mounted file. Okay, now it's in progress. Okay, and it's mounted. I can simply download it from my web browser. I have it right here, so I can open the archive and see my txt file that I downloaded from the backup. So the last feature that we would like to cover today, it's our application backup. So here is the applications tab, and we are usually starting with execution configuration to see what execution configuration we have ready to use in Storware. There are a couple of them, but being honest, our application backup is basing on a generic mechanism provided by the applications, and we are using scripts to do the backups. So in case you have any other application that have some mechanism of doing the backup, and you're able to prepare the script to do this, then you probably will be able to apply it to Storware. Today I will be backing up MySQL database, to being precise MariaDB, and I will emulate the remote connection to the server, because in fact I will be connecting to the database of my server. So we need to go to the instances and prepare new instance of the application. Here I have my Maria database already configured. So let's see what is in the details. Because when you are preparing the new application, you just need to choose a ready-to-use command execution. So I have my MySQL MariaDB configuration. Then I need to go to the environment variables. Here I'm providing a set of arguments that will be used in a script while doing the backup. So I have my username, my password of a user, the database that I want to back up, some paths to store the logs, to store the files during the backup, and of course, to make it possible, I need to configure the SSH access to my host, because we are connecting remotely to a different machine. In fact, it's the same machine, but we are doing it through the network. So, like I said, it's an emulation of a remote access to another computer, and of course, credentials of a user that have a right to make a SSH connection. So, I can prepare the new set of credentials, giving a name, giving a username, password, and that is all. After I save it, I can choose it in my application backup, and once again, the backup SLAs for the application. I'm using ready-to-use internal database backup policy, but we can also create the new one. And the configuration inside is once again quite similar like in previous options. So there is no auto assignment, but we are choosing the proper application, then creating the rule. So the backup destination, retention, and of course the schedule. In case of application, it is always a full schedule, always a full backup. We can save it and start the backup. So we can go to the instances, and I'm starting the backup for my application. So again, we can see the progress. Right, the backup of my MySQL database is done. So I can see the details of my application, and of course do the restoration. So let's make a restore. I will be restoring it to the node, or you can restore it to the application, depending on what scenario do you prefer. If you make a restore to the node, then you are choosing the designated path where you would like to make a restoration. So let's say I would save it in a TMP path. I can just hit the restore and go to my SSH console and to the TMP. Okay, so the restore is finished. My file is already here. It is called vprotect dbsql gz. So if I would like to use it to restore the data directly to my database, I would need a use MySQL command to extract the data from the file and then import it directly to the database. So, like I said, I was trying to show you today the most important features that you can find and use in our solution. I hope you enjoy my video, and I'm inviting you for the next videos in a Storware Academy. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being today with me, and I'm inviting you to watch other videos from our series Storware Academy.